I've taken a look at a lot of different lighting products on this channel, everything from home accent lighting to DJ lighting, but one light effect is classic and has uses not only in the professional space, but even in your home for your Halloween or decor, and that is a black light. Black lights used to be very, very cumbersome and difficult to use. I remember when I started my mobile DJ business, I had to buy these big fluorescent tubes. They were fragile, they were hard to mount and use, but now with LEDs, we have much more affordable and portable UV blacklight options. These that I have today on the table are LED floodlights, blacklight floodlights from a company called Onforu. I've actually used some of their blacklights in the past. I've been very impressed, and I think these offer a lot of value for the money. In this video today, I'm gonna do an unboxing of the lights, show you what comes in the packaging, show you how easy it is to use these, give you some demos of me using them in my home, and tell you about my experience with them, and then let you know whether or not I think it's worth picking some up for yourself. Now, if you're new here, this is the Phase Reviews YouTube channel. My name is Jordan. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a subscriber, welcome back as always. Before I crack open the packaging, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a comment, and like the video. All those things help the channel grow, and I really appreciate you for it. But enough about that. Let's dive into taking a look at these Onforu LED black lights. Like I mentioned in the introduction, black lights are super useful in a variety of settings. They're not just for dance parties, although you can use them there a lot. You'll find these as architectural lighting or effect lighting in mini golf courses and malls and different kind of art installations. People use these on their home during Halloween. You can find uses for black lights. Teenagers for years have had them in their bedrooms, but I personally, as a mobile DJ, I find these are great effects for dances. Whether or not you use them as the focus of the dance for like an 80s fluorescent glow party, or just as a way to have lighting on even when the rest of your lighting is off, so you can have some ambient lighting in the room without needing to use the overheads. Now, before I open this box up and show you this light, let me read a few important specs. And if you're shopping for black lights, these are some things to keep in mind. Power. These are 30-watt black lights, which is pretty standard, I think, for budget. If you're not buying these huge UV cannons from professional companies, 30-watt black lights is pretty standard across the board. Also, the wavelength is an important spec to pay attention to. These fall between 385 and 400 nanometers. The smaller the wavelength, the more UV effect you're going to get and the less visible light. Light falls along a spectrum, and just below blue and what we see with our eyes naturally is ultraviolet. So true ultraviolet, you really start to see that around 365. So these are a touch above it. You're still getting some UV effect, but you're also getting a fair amount of visible purple blue light. I'm not mad about that, especially at the price. And I think these are nice because, like I mentioned before, they could fill a room with some ambient lighting so that it isn't completely black, and if you don't have everyone wearing fluorescent colors or white, you can still have some sort of ambient lighting so you don't need your overheads, okay? Because these are LEDs, they're rated for 30,000 hours of life. You should never have to replace things unless like the circuitry's bad or something like that. No issues so far with them for me. And then they have a 120-degree beam angle, so very widespread in all directions. One of the benefits of the floodlight kind of type of light is that 120 degrees is in all axes. The bars that I use right now are great, but they're only wide in one direction and not in the other. So if you need to cover a big area, these are going to be great for that. But enough talking, let's crack open the box and show you what comes inside. Now you'll see the cables right here and the lights themselves. We'll look at those in just a moment. But there is also a user manual which got pulled out underneath the lights. And the user manual really doesn't have much in it. It has the contents, it tells you how to mount the light and turn it on and off. And really, that's all there is to these guys. They're not complex DMX programmable professional DJ lights. You just use them, you plug them in, you flick the switch, and they're running. That's it, okay? But you do have a manual if you want it. Now, one of the things that first struck me when I pulled these lights out is how thin they are. An inch or two maybe. You could easily stack 10 of these in a small gig bag and have enough black light to fill a very large room. Even 20, I'd say. They're affordable too, so it makes buying multiples very easy. And they come in a 2-pack, and I think 2 of these is great for home or very small rooms. 4 would probably do a good medium-sized dance floor, okay? Now, construction wise, we've got a metal bracket right here. I think it's metal from feeling it. The rest of the light is plastic with a tempered glass front. It feels more like plastic, but that's what the manual says is tempered glass. So I'm not sure. I'm not gonna break it and find out. Despite being plastic, it feels very, very robust, but also lightweight. It kind of struck me like, oh, this feels professional, you know? Not that plastic isn't a professional material. There's plenty of professional grade products in all industries that have plastic construction, and this falls in the feels very sturdy category. Now, it's a pretty simple light. There's no switches on the light itself. You've got this bracket with a couple different mounting holes on it right there. We've got a cable that seems to be 6 feet, I would guess. Let's pull it out and take a look. Actually maybe more like 4 feet. 4 feet, I would say. And then on the cable itself, we have a toggle switch. Now, the cable is rubberized, it's thick, it feels good, but my only gripe or con with this product would be where the cable connects to the light itself. It's not like an IEC plug-in, plug-out cable, and so there's a risk that this shorts out or gets damaged over time. I might reinforce it in the future and make a video on that. I wish it was replaceable. I mean, it probably is, but you gotta like solder it or like tie it in or something, and that's above my pay grade. So anyway, no issues with it yet, but that's kind of what the light looks like. On the front, you've got 30 watts, 30 W right there, and then IP66. So this is rated to stand up to some weather, some, you know, light, water, and dust. It shouldn't have any issues running outside if you want to do that. You can see all the diodes in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 70 individual diodes in there, and combined, like I mentioned, they produce 30 watts total. Now, the only control on the light is just the toggle switch on and off right there, and that's really the entirety of the light. You're gonna get 2 of them in the box, so you're gonna have 60 watts of UV light total, and like I said, look how compact 2 of those is, right? You can hold them in one hand. I could probably hold 5 of these in one hand, which is pretty great for transportation. Now, in use, I'm gonna overlay some footage on top of this video while I talk. I mentioned that I think the pair of these was good for my 20 by 30 foot living room and my 2-car garage. I did some testing in both of those. You can see with some fluorescent index cards taped on the wall across from the lights, maybe 15 feet away. They're plenty bright, they're fluorescing, they're glowing. You can see the other white objects in the room glowing as well. But you'll also notice that the room in general is just pretty lit up with blue and purple. Like I mentioned, because of where these fall on the spectrum, you're getting a good amount of visible light as well as ultraviolet. If I were doing a dance, I would opt for at least 4 or maybe 6 of these. Even buying that many, you're gonna be out the door less than a single standard LED blacklight from one of the major companies, which I think is a big pro. And I like having multiple as opposed to one expensive blacklight, because that way you can tailor how many you bring depending on the event type. Not every event you need 10. Some you only need 4, okay? But regardless, I'm very impressed with the fact that they do have some obvious UV output, as evidenced by the glowing nature of the index cards in my living room and in my garage. In the garage, those cards are about 20 feet away from the light and still glowing plenty bright. All in all, I think these are phenomenal value, and when it comes to black lights, architectural lighting, I feel like these are disposable. I can buy a lot of them for a good price, and they do the job every time. And so I'm gonna give these 2 thumbs up. For me, these Onforu 30-watt LED blacklight floodlights, I'll include a link down in the description. If you want to see the other review I did of some Onforu LED blacklight bars, I'll include a link to that as well. But these get my recommendation. They're going to go right into the rotation in my company, and I'd be happy to use these in my events in the future. Now, if you're not, we're going to come back to this. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and like the video. It helps the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.